It is 11:42 on this Wednesday, the 19th of January. Welcome to Central Valley Talk Live. It is the artists and authors segment. I am Austin Reed. Hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Austin Reed on Air. Coming to you from our Tower District studios today, and our guest for this Wednesday is Gail Daley, joining us live via Zoom. Hi there, Gail. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. So, what are we talking about? You are a artist, and you have a lengthy background. So, let's begin with that.
Well, actually, I have a background in business, and and I'm a self-taught artist. I also write a lot of books, and that's one of the things I want to talk about today were the new books. I have a book 3 in the trilogy, The Magic of Rulari, coming out this month, at the end of this month. Now it's that particular series. It's a fantasy, but it's also a science fiction, because the 3 groups of people that came through the wormhole. One of them was from Earth, one of them was from a planet called Sekhmet, and each of them brought with them their artificial intelligence entities. So I suppose you could say there were 4, but the artificial intelligence they have their own community. And in this 3rd book, I really went into that a lot more. So it had, although the artificial intelligence did appear in both the other 2 books, just on an individual basis, so not as a community. I'm waffling on the cover for this one. It's called Paladin, and the one that I sent you is this one, which goes very well with the rest of the series. It fits in nicely. It's readable. This is the original, what started the series, Spell of the Magi, and it was done, I actually started it out as a Western back when Western bodice strippers were really powerful, really, really selling well. I don't do the bodice stripper thing particularly well. I don't like to do it, although that particular book does have a very violent attempted rape scene in it. The girl in that particular one, the heroine, she gets saved by her sister, who whacks the guy over the head with a shovel. So it was kind of, and it was her little sister that did this, the one she told to hide in the wagon and who disobeyed her. Magic works here, and they have all had to adapt. All these different races have had to adapt to it. Now, the feline people from Sekhmet, they're descended from cats, just like we're supposedly descended from primates type thing. Mm-hmm. And they're all, and I do not have a good picture of one. I'm going to have to make one, which is where being an artist comes in handy.
Yeah.
Because nobody is doing anything like that, or I would have included that on the covers too. But I'm considering changing the cover that I had designed originally for Paladin to this one. Now, this is, it has a lot more of the sci-fi elements in it. For instance, this is the artificial intelligence thing up there that you can see. And but it does mean that the book doesn't look exactly like the others. And because of the sci-fi elements, the sales haven't really been where I want it to be. So I think instead of promoting it as an epic fantasy trilogy, maybe I should hit the sci-fi market a little harder and on that. So that's one of the reasons why I redesigned the cover. They're all the books I plan on bringing out in hardback, which unfortunately my wide distributor draft to digital does not do anymore. But the difficulty with the hardback is that the cover wraps all the way around. And with the paperback, they get, when you do it through that particular series, paper they give you a paperback, a complimentary colored back cover, and you can't really put those together very well with the hardback cover, because hardback covers are real hard to size. And if that line where the original cover ends and the other one is off, you're going to end up with a line where you don't want it. So I'm having to redesign all the covers on all my books to put them into hardback. And unfortunately, I have to do it through Amazon because Draft2Digital does not yet have a hardback format, which is a shame. Amazon's real hard to work with. As a writer, I have to say that their formatting system is difficult. It's hard to use, and their customer service really isn't all that hot. But that's just me. I'm going to be having coming out in this year a spinoff series from the Warriors of St. Antonio, which is called the Outlaw Planets. And those are, they're pretty straight sci-fi, but in St. Antonio's universe, I did a couple of, this particular one actually leads into the new series, because it has, it actually has most of the characters that are going to appear in the new series in it. And the new series I'm doing is something you have to understand about Earth is this is after the apocalypse. And it's scary. It's kind of a little bit scary, but I actually used our present circumstances to base my apocalypse things going on. And the recent volcanoes erupting underwater and the tsunamis, I actually used them, although I did not have any foreknowledge of them going to happen, I assure you. But they were used as part of developing the reason why the apocalypse happened, and during the apocalypse, we had the pandemics, we had all these things. And someone discovered a way to go from world to world using a wormhole type technology. And the government and the industries who were bleeding money seized upon this. They said, okay, we can bring back some money. People have to pay to go to these colonies. We'll support them, but they'll have to pay. So they started opening up their own official colonies. Unfortunately for them, the way I wrote it, it was really simple once you knew how to open it. Just about anybody with a degree in math could work out the open one, and the formula for locating these planets was pretty simple too. And it didn't take much power. All it took was about the same amount of power that we have, say, up there in the PG&E substation up there, that type of thing. So they started popping up all over the place, and of course the government started cracking down on everybody about, you can't do this. But the town of Laughing Mountain didn't get chosen in the lottery to have a legitimate colony, but they went ahead and opened a gate anyway to 5 different colonies, and one of which was St. Antonio, which is where these 6 books were located. And then in the last book, I had one of the characters come back to Earth because he had to. His uncle died, and his uncle, they were afraid his uncle had knowledge of the portal, and they didn't want that getting out, because then it would get to town, it would get all these colonies, everything else they were doing. So they sent him back there. He came back to claim the inheritance, so he could have it. And he and his girlfriend and all their friends, they come up on a clone farm, and clones are not treated very well in this society, because they're telling everybody that this is property. These are not people. This is not property. And a lot of that stems from the idea that the technology is out there to create a whole human, but you don't have to. you could just recreate an organ, which we could almost do now, but it proved to be simpler and cheaper just to create a whole being. And then when the transplant was needed, they took the transplant and the clone just died. And so because they were property, they considered it legal. And I'm sorry, the gardener is out there right now, so he's maybe hearing a roar from him. Anyway, the group of they were college students. They discovered a clone farm that right after it had been raided because the clones were in rebellion. They escaped. They would escape whenever they could, and they were coming back, and they were actually destroying the clone farms. And they had hit one, but when they got there, the group discovered 6 babies that were about to be decanted, plus some toddlers that they had just left there to whatever, And of course, they were hungry and they were wet and they were tired. And one of the girls, the one that appears in Game Theory, which is the second book in the Outlaw Colonies series, she and her husband were from one of those colonies. They were from a colony called Arcadia, which I kind of based that on Israel, on the Israeli government, the way they handle things. It's very military oriented, but not everybody has to be. Everybody has to serve at least a term, but not everybody. You don't have to make a career of it, type thing. But they were here on Earth because her husband was supposed to find and locate the Earth authorities, their planetary thing that searched out unbased colonies or whatever, and download a virus that would prevent it from finding their colony. That's why they were here. But supposedly they were taking classes so they would blend in and nobody would get suspicious. But anyway, they took the toddlers home with them, and the babies. One of the girls there, she's the kind of girl that always brings home all these stray animals because they're lost, they're hurt, or whatever. Anyway, she and the hero, they took the babies after all they were going to die there if they didn't do something with them. So they took them with them, and they ended up adopting the babies and going back to his colony, which was San Antonio, because they're on San Antonio. They don't have that kind of technology anyway, and as far as they were concerned, they're human. They look human, they're human. So, but those are going to be the new series. The first book in that particular series, I actually started with a totally different character and totally different. It's called Apex Predator. You may have it on your screen if there's somewhere, I don't know. But Apex Predator was the first colony that the Laughing Mountain people discovered. And it was such a doozy that nobody really, really wanted it because there were actually groups that would pay them to find them a colony that they could set up. That's what happened with Arcadia. But nobody really wanted this planet because, it was a doozy. The plants and the animals were huge and they were predatory. And man is an apex predator, but he might just have met his match because if the animals don't get you, the plants might.
Yeah. Hey, we've got about 30 seconds left. Where can people get the books?
They can be found on Amazon, on any ebook site. They are also in the library system. And you can buy signed copies of the paperbacks through my website, which is www.gaildaley.com. But they're in all of the ebook stores.
Okay.
I have them on Amazon. The new books aren't there, of course, yet because they're not going to be out. Although Paladin will be out at the end of the month. They're on Kobo. They're on Nook. That's one of the nice things about using Draft to Digital as a wide distributor, because I put them on their site and they do all this distributing. And you can get them in all the Amazon sites and all the Kobo sites, which are both of which are in foreign countries. But they are in English. They are not translated. So if you're not a native speaker, you might not really find that.
All right, perfect. Well, Gail, thank you so much for coming on today. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, I'm Austin Reed. That does it for artists and authors on this Wednesday. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll be back in the noon hour with more Central Valley Talk.